Hillary Clinton has demonstrated over and over again that she is not transparent. Her leadership as Secretary of State has placed us in grave danger around the world.
So I quote A Few Good Men, where Tom Cruise says to Jack Nicholson, "Are we in danger? Grave danger?" And then Nicholson says, "Is there any other kind?" Yeah. So is grave danger a little bit of hyperbole, or do you agree with her?
Well, I think that a lot of our country does believe we're in grave danger. Listen, there's a lot about Hillary Clinton's time as Secretary of State that's questionable. She called Assad a reformer. She said Iraq was a stable state. She said we were going to do a reset with Russia.
With a reset button.
Right. And all of those things arguably put us in grave danger. Was the word hyperbole? Yes. Is that what politicians are want to do? Yes. I think that it is something that's worth discussing. And I think Carly is really getting in there and making inroads in some of the areas where Hillary needs to be on the defense.
Rick, does she make the top 10 for the first Fox debate? You got a poll in the top 10. She's getting a lot of attention.
She should. But I don't know if she will, and I don't know that it does her, well, I guess Republicans will like saying things like that. I was disappointed in her saying that because Hillary did not do anything as the Secretary of State that put us in grave danger. I don't disagree that we have dangers in the world, but you know, Hillary's record, I have to say, is better as Secretary of State than she gets credit for. Unfortunately, it doesn't come complete with these, you know, huge breakthroughs that you can point to, but there was a lot of subtle stuff that was very important that she won't get credit for, and it may not matter, but no, she didn't put us in great danger.
Dan?
I come from an unforgiving profession. All right, we judge people by results, and when I look at Hillary, and Rick's right, I mean, there are some things that she did or didn't screw up, we'll put it that way, that are okay, but in the end, what did she do? I look at her and I'm not scared by what didn't happen. I'm more appalled by the lost opportunities. I mean, there's North Korea, there's Russia, you know, the list goes on, and the biggest one that I see is Iran. You know, that was a huge opportunity that's been wasted by she and the president, and we're not going to get it back.
Well, hopefully that's not a future war. We could talk about a past war, however, which was the Vietnam War. And now let's talk about the new book from our special guest. He is retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Dan Hampton. His book is called The Hunter Killers, the extraordinary story of the first wild weasels, the band of maverick aviators who flew the most dangerous missions of the Vietnam War. This book is all about a covert program that most people haven't heard about before. Dan, tell us all about it.
These guys are my heroes. Okay, and it was my privilege when I was writing and researching this book to get to know the ones that are still alive, and they had a horrible casualty rate because they were the first guys that were sent out to go fight the brand new Russian-made weapon that was shooting down airplanes, which was surface-to-air missiles. These are things the size of telephone poles that go 3 times the speed of sound with 400-pound warheads on the end of it, and they're guided by radars. And nobody had fought them before. And so the military and the government came up with this idea, well, we're going to find some people that are crazy enough, so they went to fighter pilots, to say, you know, we want you to go out and we find these things and kill them. And they said, well, how do we do that? And they said, well, we don't know, but go do it. So the pilots got together with electronic warfare officers, even crazier guys that sat in the back seat and worked all the equipment, and they went out and they would purposely get shot at by these things, and if they survived, then they would locate them and they would go kill them so that they didn't shoot down other airplanes. It's a crazy job, and I'm actually the great-grandson of the Wild Weasel program because I did it in the Gulf Wars, and everything that I did was built on what these guys do, so this book has some particular importance for me.
So the only way they could locate us, Sam, would be to actually get in the area, be shot at, and then you'd see them?
Yeah, well, that's half right. You have to get close enough for them to turn their radars on and look at you, and once the radars are up,
then
there's equipment on the airplane that could find the radars, maybe.
Wow.
If they shoot, then maybe you can see the missiles. So there's a lot of maybes in there.
How's it done today?
Actually, believe it or not, pretty much the same. I mean, we have, despite the billions of dollars spent on space and other cool things, and we use them all, in a lot of cases it still comes down to guys being stupid enough, not stupid, crazy enough to go and get shot at and find these things. We have maybe 10 or 15 different systems to deal with. These guys only had one, but still it was brand new at the time.
Did anything surprise you as you interviewed some of the veterans who were involved in this program?
I was surprised, I shouldn't have been, but I was surprised again at how little information the government sent them out there with, which shouldn't have surprised me after 2 wars myself. And I was not surprised but impressed by the fact that these guys kept going back for more, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Was there any pushback from the Pentagon as you tried to get your hands on some of the documents related to this top secret program?
There's always pushback from the Pentagon, but you know, I'm a civilian now, so I just went around them.
Do you do you use freedom of information requests? Is that how you get it?
Some of
or-
that, some of it I went straight to the horse's
people,
mouth.
right.
Yeah, the people, and some of it I went to the company that originally made the stuff. They're not the same company anymore, but I found a lot of people that were willing to talk because they wanted people to know, hey, regardless of what you think about the Vietnam War, these are the guys that went and did this, and this is why. And it's something that I think as Americans we can all be proud of.
Can you believe, and we only have about 10 seconds, that it was 40 years ago since the Vietnam War ended? I mean, that's remarkable.
Well, yeah, when I think about how old I am, but I try not to think about that.
All right. You don't look like a guy.
I can believe it. I remember
Rick
every
knows.
bit of it.
Coming up next, it's potluck time. Thank you so much. Once again, the book is The Hunter Killers. It will be available tomorrow, both in bookstores and online. Next up, it's potluck time. Heather and I share our favorite stories of the day. Do not go anywhere.